So during this quarantine, everyone's got their project. Mine was a backyard bridge. First, I got all my cedar milled up. I got a 6x6 ripped into 5/8 thick pieces to make the bridge beams. Audrey helped me plane those. I built a jig in the shop on my bench to bend the beams. I think it was something like an 80-inch radius. Use lots and lots of Tight Bond 3. It's good, strong glue, waterproof. I think I used about half a gallon on this project. This was really tough clamping these, but I checked it for square and it all worked out pretty good. If I was going to do more of these, I'd probably build a plywood jig to just keep everything nice and solid and square. But this worked out. All glued up and in the clamps. And give it about 24 hours and then cleaned up all my glue on the other side. And then repeat the process. Everything worked out good. And they were just narrow enough that I was able to set them up outside and squeeze them through my planer, which saved me a lot of work. And set everything up and made my seat cuts that landed on some concrete pads that I built on either side of the creek. And the next step, I did the railings the same way as I did the bridge beams and used the same jig. I made them half the thickness, so I was able to just double it up in my jig. And I know what you're thinking, the top one will have a slightly bigger radius than the bottom one, which did, but that actually worked out well because one of the beams, for whatever reason, kind of lost a bit of its bend when I took it out of the clamps, but the top railing matched it perfectly, so they both followed it perfectly, and you would never see it in either side anyway. Lots of support on this glue up. 24 hours later, and this one came out of the clamps too. And these worked out wonderfully. And I took these outside and got a straight cut on one side of both the railings with a circular saw. And then I brought them into the shop and did the other side on the table saw, which worked great with just a little support I built on the bench. Then it was on to planing the posts and then laying out the mortises and the tenons for those. Getting my depth and cutting a bunch of saw kerfs for my tenons, and then I took those into the shop to clean them up. Not quite sure why I left that lump of crap on the bottom. Would have made my life a lot easier to take it off, but sometimes I like to make things harder on myself. I'm getting my mortises into the beams. Those cleaned up nicely, and all the posts fit nice and snug. Now I'm clamping a board on, plumbing the posts up, getting my measurements for the height of my railing. Then I clamped that on and scribed the posts and the end of the railing where I wanted to cut that. Here I just cut the posts straight and then put that slight radius to match the railing on with my belt sander. Here I'm fitting everything, making sure everything fits right and everything looks good. So I started laying out dowels for attaching the railing. Once I saw that fit nice and snug, I scribed the mid rails and cut those, made sure they fit, and then put dowels in those too. Here I'm ripping the deck boards. I put about a 4-degree angle on them to match the radius of the bridge beams. And on the end I cut about 1.5 degrees back from the top, so if there's any discrepancies in the beam, they would butt in nice and tight and you would never see any gaps. Then putting a quarter round on everything here. And here I'm attaching the deck support on the side of the beam. Well, I started using this new product that looks interesting. Australian Timber Oil by Cabot, Jar of Brown, and it really looks terrible. So I'm going to sand it all off and start again. Yeah, that kind of set me back today, but now I know what I don't like. Here, fitting everything together and getting glued up. And I used ratchet straps to clamp everything together. It worked out great. And lots of softeners, because cedar is very soft and will mark up easily. It was getting dark, so I recruited a bunch of help to help me finish up. And give it 24 hours, and here I'm squaring and measuring everything up and attaching the deck boards, and they fit nice and snug. Started opening up a bit at the back when I was attaching, so I put that ratchet strap on and it was able to pull everything back into place. And the last board fit in just nice. And then I decided I wanted everything to be nice and smooth. That was a whole other undertaking. But I'm happy with the result. So hand planes, chisels, belt sanders, palm sanders, and got that deck all nice. Then a final sand on everything before applying finish. And this is really nice. Sickens, natural color. Chickens. And put the final touches. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. Thanks for watching.